It wasn't just potential Trump administration officials at the tower today. The president-elect held off-the-record conversations, a big conversation with some major media types, including several high-profile network executives and anchors, including Lester Holt of NBC News, Charlie Rose of CBS, Wolf Blitzer of the cable news network, and ABC's George Stephanopoulos. The New York Post reported tonight that the meeting did not go all that well. They said Trump occasionally lashed out at some of the participants. Kellyanne Conway denied that a few moments ago. Trump has done only one one-on-one interview on camera since he became president-elect. He has had no press conferences. And as Phil Rucker of the Washington Post points out, he's not done any victory rallies, no thank you tour, no Veterans Day event, or even indoor photo ops since he became the next leader of these United States. So far, every person he's hired for his White House team or proposed to the cabinet has been announced by a written statement. You heard Kellyanne Conway just a few minutes ago say that Trump's, quote, punishing schedule was just too packed for him to make public appearances now. So, John, do you buy the notion that he's just too busy doing other things, or is there some other reason he's staying off camera?
I do not. I do not buy the notion that he's too busy to do some things on camera, just because all presidents-elect are busy, and many of them in the past have found time to address the American people or do a press conference. I was not actually, when I asked Kellyanne about this, I was not like arguing for press conferences per se, although I think it would be good if he did them. But he hasn't done a speech, he hasn't done any of the things that you just retailed. I just think that, to your point earlier in the show, these appointments would benefit him to contextualize them, to explain them, to make the argument for some of these somewhat controversial people. Michael Flynn is a controversial guy. Jeff Sessions is a controversial guy. To make the argument for them, at least in a brief way, kind of set up the discussion for what his motives were, would be smart. I think, and then he's always finding time to tweet about Hamilton. So it's not like he's so busy he couldn't make a little time to explain what's going on. I think it would benefit him and the country.
My theory is he's enjoying doing what he wants to do. He's enjoying these meetings. Yeah. He enjoys the notion of putting together his government and having all this power and, the media speculation, all that. And I think when you run for president, particularly for someone who's never done this before, a lot of his day was filled with, you have to get on the plane at this time. You have to fly to this place. You have to highly
He's less scheduled now than he was then.
Yeah, he is. And I think he's just enjoying the fact that he doesn't have to perform in public, and he's taking a break from it.
Well, and he also likes he's home. There's some part of that. I don't think this is, again, one of these things that I don't think it's disastrous that he's not done more. It's just odd, given how voluble he has been in so many other settings when he used to be on television wall to wall. Part of the secret of his political success was his availability.
Well, except that he basically did one or two events a day for most of the campaign.
Well, right.
Again, I think that he likes to dole out portions of Trump on his own timetable. Yeah. And right now, there's just no reason for it. And I do think he's having an extraordinary number of meetings.
Yes.
He obviously could fit in a public appearance a day, but he's just choosing not to.
I'm not going to ask you to call Kellyanne Conway a liar, but having just read that New York Post story, given the multiple sources, all on background, but given the multiple sources confirming the contentiousness of the meeting, again, without impugning Kellyanne's credibility, the story reads, unlike some stories in the tabloids, that story reads, there's a lot of consistency throughout the accounts they offer there.
Unless the sources were Trump officials, shame on the people who agreed to go to an off-the-record meeting and shared the accounts of it. Yeah. But yes, it does appear to be there's at least a disparity in the accounts.
There have been some,
but I do know
there have been some people who've gone to off-the-record meetings who've shared those accounts with us. I wouldn't want to shame them too much.
I can tell you this. He is mad at CNN. I can tell you that.
Well, I think he's pretty mad at a lot of people, and I think he's feeling his oats right now.
I would say he's particularly mad at CNN.
Well, I'm sure that's
not to diminish how mad he is at other people.
Yeah.
But I think he's particularly mad at CNN.
Yeah.